Love is not betrayal disguised as patience. They wanted your body, not your breaking. Their promises were props, not roots. You weren't hard to love, they were false. Last night, heaven heard them let go. You kept a covenant they never made. Their silence was louder than truth. They left without leaving, now watch. Your name trembled in their goodbye. They called it closure. God called it cowardice. You were the truth. They wanted fantasy. They rehearsed their exit while holding your hand. God watched them call your love a mistake. They built their future, erasing your name. Last night, they rewrote your ending. They never planned forever. You only imagined it. They buried your devotion beneath ego. What they said in secret is being revealed. Their heart bent toward escape, not union. God stopped their mouth mid-lie. You saw forever, they saw a phase. They called you intense. You called it sacred. Their love had an expiration date. The love you fought for, they released casually. You were a prayer. They were a performance. Last night, they unchose you. They kissed you while plotting distance. You held their hand. God held your soul. Their vow wasn't holy, only habitual. They left the table you prepared. You weren't blind. You were loyal. They chose peace over presence. God never ordained what wounded you this deeply. They didn't want love. They wanted control. You wept while they rehearsed new beginnings. They said your name with finality. The truth isn't cruel. It's clean. Last night, their soul bowed to someone else. What you feel is not weakness, it's clarity. They honored no altar, only advantage. You prayed for healing. They prayed for release. They were done long before they confessed. God blocked what you were never meant to keep. They mistook your depth for danger. The truth hurts, but it won't kill you. You weren't the problem. You were the prophecy. Their exit is your exodus. You didn't lose them. You lost the lie. God is cleansing your covenant. If this touched your soul, don't scroll. Comment your favorite quote and subscribe for more. They spoke of ending while you dreamed of eternity. You begged the universe for clarity. This is it. They traded your soul for silence. What they couldn't handle, they blamed on you. You're grieving who they never were. God is freeing you through the truth. They didn't leave. You outgrew their deception. They removed your name from their future. Last night, they chose comfort over calling. You weren't too much. They were too little. They ended it without explanation, but God explains. You deserved a beginning, not abandonment. Their love had loopholes. Yours had sacrifice. You kept forgiving what should have freed you. God intercepted what would have destroyed your spirit. They said you weren't aligned. Truthfully, you were awakened. They remembered your kindness, not your name. Your soul loved deeply. They escaped quickly. They said forever, but served temporary. Your heartbreak held more honesty than their love. You were not hard to hold. They chose an easier road. God chose a higher one. Their love expired the moment you awakened. You stayed while they disappeared emotionally. They kept you close enough to use. You offered wholeness, they needed control. Last night, they closed the book, not the chapter. You were a mirror, they couldn't face themselves. They left quietly, but the ache was loud. Their withdrawal was divine protection in disguise. You were the lesson, not the mistake. God is unraveling what was never holy. Their heart is elsewhere. Yours deserves presence. You saw the signs. Now God confirms. They never planned on healing, only hiding. You showed up. They backed out. Their timing was false. Your love was real. You broke open. They backed away. Last night they declared the end. God whispered, watch. They walked out, but you will rise. You became the one they couldn't manipulate. God is not punishing you, He's preserving you. They took your loyalty for granted. They buried you in silence. You'll bloom anyway. You are not unloved, you are unchained. You didn't fail love. They failed truth. They feared your wholeness. God pulled back the veil. They were never yours. They left empty because you gave everything. You loved honestly. They loved carefully. Their real face wasn't cruel, just unready. God ended what would have ended you. They wanted your warmth, not your weight. You asked for a partner. They came as a mirror. They studied your weakness, not your worth. You carried the connection. They carried resentment. You were ready. They were running. They ghosted, but you are still divine. Their absence gave God room. The goodbye you feared was grace. You let them go, now let them fade. They thought leaving would break you. It built you. Their end is your resurrection. They wanted escape. You were sent for expansion. What they whispered, God is now shouting. You were sacred. They were afraid. You didn't lose a person. You lost a pattern. They chose closure over commitment. They left before they ruined more. Their indifference was divine intervention. God is burning their mask. Last night, your spirit heard them quit. You are not their regret. You are God's glory. They were a test. You passed. Your tears are baptizing your new beginning. They abandoned what was holy. You broke to become whole. The lie ended last night. You deserved more than confusion. They said your name like it was weight. God pulled your name from their future. They never knew what they held. Their soul turned. Yours awakened. Last night was the turning. God exposed what you couldn't. Their love left when truth arrived. You are now unreachable to the wrong ones. They bowed to fear. You are still chosen. God's revelation hurts before it heals. What ended last night begins your healing. They closed the door. God opened the heavens. Their betrayal won't define your next chapter. They saw your glow and feared the glare. You were the altar. They brought dust. God spoke clearly. They're no longer yours. You never lost them. God removed them. Their tie broke. Your calling didn't. Love didn't fail. You were protected. If this touched your soul, don't scroll. Comment your favorite quote and subscribe for more.